Today I want to talk to you guys about the aim or goal of a thesis statement and how we can write really strong ones. There are a couple of things that a thesis statement tries to accomplish. The first and really important is that it tells the reader the significance of the subject, topic, or issue that your paper is going to cover. It should also provide a clear roadmap for the paper. By the end of the thesis statement, the reader should be really clear about where the paper is going to go and what it's going to get into. It should, of course, answer the essay question or prompt that is posed to you. And a really strong thesis statement often makes a claim that is disputable. So it's not a yes or no, it's not a right or wrong, but it shows that the world is a complex, dynamic place and it's always changing. And the thesis statement suggests that you understand that. And because your thesis statement is so well written, the rest of the paper works to persuade the reader of this statement and all the elements within. So let's look at an example. We have a working thesis statement here. It says, while both sides fought the Civil War over slavery, the North fought for moral reasons while the South fought to preserve its institutions. I want you guys to pause this video and try to answer the questions below on a piece of paper at home. So what did you guys come up with? What is working with this thesis statement? What you might have said is that it is sort of presenting the complexity. It is a debatable sentence, or it's trying to be a debatable sentence. It's hinting at moral reasons and institutions, but it's not being very clear about what exactly those things are. We want to be a little bit more precise and clear about where the paper is going to go and what it's going to get into. So we might change it to something a little bit more like this. And what you see here at the top is again that same working thesis statement that we started with, and below a revised thesis that starts to characterize what the paper will go into more specifically and precisely. So let's take a look at that. While both Northerners and Southerners believed they fought against tyranny and oppression, Northerners focused on the oppression of slaves, while Southerners defended their right to self-government. So what you see here is we've gone from just talking about moral reasons to talking about what those moral reasons are, tyranny and oppression specifically. We're looking at oppression of slaves versus a right to self-government, which is the attempt to preserve the South's institutions. So this revised thesis is definitely getting more specific. We might still ask a little bit more of it, but it's definitely on the right track and working to really provide us with a statement that a paper can go into more detail about. And here's another example, something that I see a lot in papers that I read. Something that sounds like this. Due to the encouraging outcomes that have been observed, humor's positive contributions to those with dementia do in fact justify policy change in hospitals and clinics. The remainder of this essay goes on to provide a more holistic explanation of why this is, while along the way proposing a course of action to be taken. So what do you guys think about this thesis statement? Go ahead and pause the video now and try to write an answer to that. What you might have noticed about this thesis statement is that that first sentence is doing a lot. It's telling us about the topic of the essay overall, it's giving us a roadmap for what the paper is going to talk about, how humor positively helps those who have dementia. But that second sentence isn't really giving us a lot. The remainder of this essay goes on to provide a more holistic explanation and propose a course of action. Why doesn't the thesis statement just tell us that straight out? Don't allow your thesis statement to run you. Allow the thesis statement to run the paper. So it does really need to be a guide that tells the reader where the paper might go. So this next slide gives you some things to think about. Write the working thesis statement that you're working with for your paper right now on a separate sheet of paper. Then move through these bullet points and start to see if your thesis statement passes this test. Do you answer the essay question? Is there a position that others could challenge? If it can't be challenged, then it's probably just too much summary. Is your thesis statement specific enough? Can we remove words like good or benefits that might not give us enough information? Can we be more specific? Does your thesis statement pass the so what test? Can the reader have an answer to that question? Well, so what? So why does this matter? Is that really clear? Does your essay actually support the thesis statement that you've written? Sometimes we write a thesis statement to start our paper, then the paper we actually write doesn't exactly match it. Or we start with a really vague thesis statement and we need to get more specific when it comes time to writing the actual paper. So can we change our thesis statement now that the paper is actually drafted to more accurately represent the paper itself? And does your thesis statement pass the how and the why test? So if the reader asks the questions how or why after reading your thesis statement, you might be providing a sentence that is a little bit too open-ended or lacks some guidance. So can you change your thesis statement to provide more of a position?